Check out today's piece of Otaku Daikun fan art. From what I'm told, this is a picture of Dai-chan triggered when you insult her waifu. Well, that's pretty fair. You insult Saber, you invoke my wrath. This is hilarious. Thank you so much, Arian. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here. Today, I want to talk about idols. In Japan, idols are a huge phenomenon, and they currently play a major role in various anime and games. Some people have mixed feelings about their inclusion, but in this video, I hope to explain what makes idols so appealing to Japan, while also exploring the creative ways in which idol culture has been explored in anime. After all, idols have a special meaning to Japan and other Asian nations that really sets them apart from more conventional celebrities. While there are definitely similarities between the two, the appeal of a Japanese idol is more intimate, stemming directly from needs introduced by Japanese culture. You see, the Japanese are, in broad strokes, a very homogenized people. They have a strong sense of unity, a value for the collective over the individual. There's even a saying to describe this: the nail that sticks out gets hammered in. This might sound oppressive, but it actually has more to do with humility. In general, the Japanese are way more humble than, say, Americans. They don't feel any one person is more important than another. This helps public services run smoothly and fosters a shared concern for fellow citizens. An example of this happens to be masks. Well before the pandemic, it was customary for the Japanese to buy and wear face masks when sick, out of a genuine desire to avoid spreading infection. Well, we've got people in America being all, "Making me wear a mask is a violation of my freedom." Japan was already well versed in respecting their fellow citizens. If you're a part of Japan's culture, you know that you have to get in line like everyone else. You have to follow the rules. You put your own individual preferences and passions aside so as not to disturb anyone else in a public setting. You keep that stuff at home. For instance, it would be extremely rude to listen to your music at a cafe without headphones. It would be disruptive to make a scene when there's no emergency. In other words, someone like Logan Paul is Japan's worst nightmare. His loud, extroverted ego isn't welcome when everyone else is trying not to disturb each other. Overall, this is an honorable mentality to have. It's like the anti-Karen, if you will. Even so, this cultural expectation, while humble and virtuous, is also ripe for abuse. There are unintended side effects of this humility. For one, I blame it for the epidemic of train groping in Japan. In order to fit as many people onto a train as possible, passengers are forced to pack into all the available space. During rush hours, you'll definitely find yourself sandwiched between a crowd every time. This close physical contact is easy to take advantage of. A degenerate can cop feels and make it look like an accident, and even when they're more aggressive, victims don't always retaliate because they don't want to cause a scene. They'd rather blend in, even if it means being abused. Japan's approach to solving the problem also reflects this mentality. Rather than holding gropers accountable for their groping, there are now separate cars meant only for women. This way, women can be safe while not being singled out or put in the spotlight. This humility also causes many Japanese people to avoid other forms of confrontation. Even if they strongly disagree with something, they'll try to communicate it as gently as possible. As such, they may not say no to something even if they truly want to. Instead, they'll hope you take the hint. This suppression of self-importance can hinder people from doing their best to make great achievements. People with exceptional talent may choose not to embrace it so they don't stand out. For instance, a student might not strive to get good grades or learn new things because they're afraid of messing up and looking dumb in front of the class. Turns out, there are certain times when an ego trip is beneficial, healthy even. People need the chance to shout and express themselves, to indulge in their own selfish desires, and yet the Japanese wouldn't dare try this if it meant intruding on others. Idols just so happen to be one of Japan's answers to this problem. Idols exist as an exception to the rule, people who are deemed appropriate to glorify, idolize, and obsess over. It's an idol's job specifically to shine and stand out, to be looked upon with envy. While this is very similar to how Western celebrities are glorified, they differ in how humility still remains a unique factor. Idols understand that they're not entitled to their popularity. they have to earn it by appealing to and nurturing relationships with their fans. Their success comes directly from the fans that support them, and as such, idols have an obligation to fulfill their fans' expectations. Through song, dance, variety shows, acting, and other public appearances, an idol is held up by their fans in what should be a wholesome, transactional experience. Usually, this is how things go. The fans support their favorite idols, and the idols in turn express gratitude for said support. As it turns out, however, just like Japan's homogenization, this too can be abused or fall victim to side effects. Idols are humans, after all. The pressure to be an idol restricts what one can do. As an obligation to fans, they might feel pressured to avoid relationships, or otherwise live double lives. An idol might be pressured into a certain role they dislike, simply to appease their fans. Worst of all, the idol that fans envision can be quite different from the actual person on stage. It's a lot like simping for an e-girl, really. When you acknowledge how fake the relationship is, or rather, so long as you respect the inherent boundary between a fan and the performer, things are great. However, when people take this kind of relationship too far, it can become toxic. One of the best anime to explore this exact issue is Satoshi Kon's film, Perfect Blue. It tells the story of an idol, Mima, who quits her unit to pursue a career in acting. Even though she wants to pursue a new passion, she struggles getting her fans' blessing, she's forced to act in roles that make her uncomfortable, and she even finds herself being stalked by an extremely obsessive fan, pretty much making it a borderline horror. The film deals with the emotional and physical trauma that can occur when we force our expectations of an idol onto a real, living human. At the end of the day, even if an idol is playing up a certain character for their audience, they're still a person, and that serves to challenge the entire concept. The contrast between an idol's professional and private lives is a prominent theme in many other works, such as with Rise Kujikawa from Persona 4. She struggles trying to mediate aspects of her own identity. Which person is the real her? The one on stage, or the one that helps run the family business? Ultimately, she's able to find confidence in the fact that both of these selves are the real Rise. She doesn't have to condemn any one aspect of her life as fake. Of course, these struggles exist for conventional celebrities too. Being harassed by the paparazzi, or just having to bear the weight of fame, has caused many to turn to drugs, alcohol, or other dangerous means of coping. They're often unable to live like normal people, instead having their careers and fame constantly shoved in their faces. Some people can take this pressure, while others buckle, but Japan continues to try and overcome this inherent problem. Their current solution is the fictional idol. If real idols are playing up caricatures in the first place, why not just own up to it? Franchises like The Idolmaster, Love Live, D4DJ, and hundreds of other works invent animated characters who, while they might have real-life animators, writers, and voice actors, are ultimately fictional. They're able to stay true to their characterization without pressure, and as such, they can be put through all sorts of drama without infringing on a real person. This allows idols to be larger than life, exceptionally ambitious like, say, Cheryl Nome from Across Frontier. These mega-idols can reach greater heights in spectacle, but anime can also provide us with plenty of innocent or small-scale idols as well. Through fiction, we can invent idols that cater to pretty much any demographic, down to the idol's personality and sense of aesthetics. Heck, we can even take it a step further and create virtual idols. By far the most famous of these is Miku Hatsune and the rest of her crew of Vocaloids. While in advertisements and cutscenes they appear to have some basic characterization, they're essentially just voice synthesizers with faces. As such, they don't have to be tied down to any one design. Fans can make Miku sweet, sexy, sadistic, rebellious, loyal. Your imagination is the only limit. Each fan can have their own Miku, their own expectation and vision for the idol, without infringing upon other people's fantasies, and even better, without expecting too much from a regular person. While this has resulted in perhaps an oversaturation of content, it's also paved the way for some very innovative stories that explore idol culture, or rather, idol philosophy as it were. The one I'm most excited about right now is VV, Fluorite Eyes Song. It's a futuristic action anime that features an android idol as its main character. Our protagonist, Diva, is an android employed by a theme park to sing live performances for the park's guests. She was created with one single mission: to make people happy with her singing, and so she performs regularly on a tiny stage for extremely small audiences. She's perfectly content with this, until she's shown a record taken 100 years in the future, depicting a violent AI takeover. She's asked to try and prevent this future by intervening in key events throughout the next century. She's reluctant at first, only wanting to complete her main mission, but eventually she begins to realize that, technically, she can make more people happy with her songs if she protects them from the morbid future that awaits. It takes the idea of a virtual or fictional idol and combines it with common cyberpunk themes of identity and free will to create an anime that's surprisingly fresh and fun. It's definitely a situation where Japan's idol culture can be applied to more obscure genres. Whether you're a fan of Japanese idols or not, there's no denying the huge impact that idols have had not just in Japanese culture, but also in the kinds of stories that can be told pertaining to identity and creative passion. Whether you appreciate these deeper, more profound narratives, or simply enjoy fantasizing about your idealized fictional waifu, anime has some great idol content for you to explore. All in all, I think this is mostly a specific application of a broader theme this channel explores. That is, the separation of fiction and reality. It's this idea that even if reality limits us, we can transcend those limitations through fiction and escapism. At the same time, doing so brings upon us a hefty responsibility not to let that fiction negatively impede on reality. A balance must be maintained. So yeah, I think idols are pretty cool in that respect. What are your favorite idol anime or games? This can include straight-up waifu fests like Idolmaster, or more specific applications like in Perfect Blue or Macross. Do you prefer real idols over fictional ones? Let's discuss in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and, most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of my anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content. If you want to support me directly, there are now 3 ways that all provide the same benefits. You can click Join here on YouTube, or join Patreon or Subscribestar for access to exclusive vids and early access. As always, celebrate your fandom.